So today I am going to be trying something different that I have never done before here on my channel, and I am going to be doing a one-take tutorial. So this is an idea that I had last week, and I was like, what would it be like if I did a makeup tutorial in one take, no edits, whatever happens, happens. And so here I am doing it. And I also asked you guys if there was something in particular that you wanted me to do. And the request that stood out to me that I thought was really cool is something outside of my comfort zone, whatever that means to me. So today I am going to be doing a colorful look because I love color, but I tend to wear color in my clothing. And I'm gonna do colorful eyes, colorful lips. And the thing with this one take tutorial is that I can't make any promises about what the outcome is going to be. I have a timer here so I know how long I've been in this tutorial, but I'm really just winging it, and I'm gonna try and do my makeup and also talk to you guys about something that, or maybe multiple things that are out of my comfort zone. And I'm also in a hoodie today because I was gonna wear a tie-dye shirt to go with like a colorful look, but it's cold today, so I'm in a sweatshirt. Here I am. My heart is racing, I'm nervous because I've never done this before. So this is out of my comfort zone on multiple levels. There could be lighting changes and it's sounds, and it's just gonna happen because, you know, that's what reality is, that you typically don't see in makeup tutorials because they're edited. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna start off with my eyes. One thing that isn't changing is I'm using my NARS eye primer here. I'm like literally shaking. My hands are shaking. Wow, I didn't realize I would be like this nervous and uncomfortable with this, but it is true. I am. So the reason why I picked this theme is because I feel like this is something that I've just been doing a lot more recently, doing things outside of my comfort zone. And I feel like this year, especially, actually this last month, I've just been doing a lot of uncomfortable things that ultimately have helped me heal and grow. Side note, I'm trying to figure out what to use on my eyes. I have these two colorful eyeshadow palettes. I'm not gonna name everything I'm using, but I'll put the names on screen so you guys can see. I'm shaking. I don't know what to do with myself. Okay, so I have these colorful eyeshadow palettes, and I'm just gonna go with what speaks to me right now. I've never used these before, so Godspeed, I guess. Okay. I'm going to go for straight up blue because I tend to just avoid blue on my eyes at all costs. Can you tell I'm like hesitant to even put this on my eyes? Okay. Here we go. And there's fallout. We love some fallout. Okay. So this last month, I have definitely just been doing things outside of my comfort zone, like in my personal life, and also like things that I've been doing online. I think my new podcast, One Step, has definitely been a huge part of that because the conversations that I've been having on the podcast with the guests have really just gone in interesting directions. Like, I did this interview with Nitika Chopra, who I love, and we talked about, you know, chronic illness and her experience with that, and also the topic of sharing something that you really want to hide came up. Moving on with the makeup, by the way, I'm gonna do a different color on my eyes because that's super uncomfortable. So I'm gonna flip my brush around and I guess go for orange. I don't, this is, comfort zones are gone here. Okay, the orange isn't as bright as I thought it would be, but I'm gonna do orange here, and then maybe a little yellow on the inner corner. Let's see what this looks like. I don't think I've ever put yellow on my eyes before. Oh, the yellow doesn't really show up. Cool. Good to know. It just looks a little powdery. But anyway, the conversation with Nitika was really inspiring to me because on the podcast she talked about, oh my God, I'm getting eyeshadow on my rug. No. Rub it out, rub it out. She talked about sharing photos of herself that she had literally hidden for 17 years. And that just got me thinking more about what's something that's a part of my story that I've tried to hide for a long time, but I'm ready to share. And so that's what inspired the next episode, which was the reflection episode. So if you listen to the podcast, I do an interview with a guest, and then the following week it's a reflection on that episode, and I share like my personal experiences. I'm moving on to foundation. I just can't find my foundation. Here we go. And so I decided to share very much in the moment. I was not expecting this going into the reflection episode. I ended up sharing a personal story. I just realized I didn't put primer on, but out of my comfort zone, right? That's the theme here. I ended up sharing a story that I hadn't talked about publicly before and that I carried a lot of shame around for years. And in the last several years, I have been just putting out into my personal life more. And, you know, I shared the story with my friends and they were just absolutely incredible. I actually did a podcast episode with my friend Carrie on her podcast, Soul Sugar, where we talk about this element of my personal story and like Carrie's role in it. And I go into a little bit more detail of the story, things that I don't share like in my personal podcast episode because like Carrie was there and I thought that brought in a different element to the experience. But basically it's around how I lied about graduating from college and why I did that and how I carried so much shame around that for years, and how for the last several years I have been letting that go. And now I'm in this place where, you know, I'm honest with the people who are in my life. All of my friends and people who are close to me know, people that I meet now, I tell the truth about my story and who I am. And it just felt like something that wanted to come out of me when I was in the podcast studio in that moment. And I was like, you know, if I'm really gonna be talking about the thing that I like want to hide the most and I'm gonna share that, like this is what's coming up for me. And so I did it, and it was terrifying. Like thinking about it now, like after recording that podcast episode, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I turned to Christina. Also, I was like crying through that podcast episode. I had a wad of tissues next to me and I was just kind of in shock that it happened. And it was actually months before we posted the episode. So I went through periods of like all of this crazy anxiety and then feelings of peace and feeling like acceptance around it. And then when the week leading up to the release of the episode came out, I was just a wreck. I was really having ups and downs where I was like feeling really solid, and then I was like really scared, and I would just be breaking down in tears. Like, what am I doing? Am I about to like ruin my life? Just, you know, like all of the thoughts that we tend to have when we are sharing a part of ourselves that is something that we've been doing a lot of work around, often for years. And that's what Nitika talks about in our episode together. She talks about like sharing these things that we want to hide the most, because often those are the things we've done the most work around. And this is 100% one of those things, like 100%. I have been working on this for years. And after putting out that episode, I mean, just thinking about it now makes me want to cry, because the messages that I received from people were just not what I was expecting at all. And I don't think I really had expectations going into it, because I was really putting that episode out there for me to, as like this final step of just freeing myself and living in my truth. And just people writing in with their personal experiences, and even going through and experiencing the exact same thing that I had gone through, was just remarkable. And it definitely made me feel less alone. And I can't believe I'm still trying to do my eyebrows through crying. It was really, really powerful. And it made me feel like, yes, this was the only path within my integrity to take. And I took it, and I was so afraid. And I did it, and I am standing in my truth, and I'm not ashamed of it. And everything that I have achieved in my life has not been in spite of this part of myself that I was so afraid of, but because I have taken this other path. And the people who are in my life now love me not in spite of this thing, but because of this thing, and because it's a part of my story. And I just find that to be so incredibly healing. And every time I think about it, obviously I get really emotional, and it just feels like a big freaking deal. It really does. And I am so proud of myself, because every year at the beginning of the year, I would think to myself, like, is this going to be the year that I fully let myself heal from this and stand in the truth of who I am? And this was that year. And this year, this next new year, I won't be asking myself that, because I will be standing in my truth. And that just feels life-changing. So, talk about being outside of comfort zones. Here we are. I'm going to try and beauty blend my tears away. But I'm at the 13-minute mark. This went by really fast. Yeah, so if you want to listen to that podcast episode, I talk about like the story. That will be linked down below, because I don't have enough time to go through it all here. And the podcast really was like the right space for me to tell that story, because I just had as much time as I needed. And then it was just so beautiful to have that moment with Carrie, who really was there like at the beginning, and who's been there for me through like coming out and going through this moment. And we talk about our friendship and going through like all of these milestones together, and we cried together, and we weren't expecting that. So those two things alone are just two things that I'm immensely proud of in this last month. Two things that really got me outside of my comfort zone, and I feel better for it. It was absolutely nerve-wracking leading up to it, but I just feel this huge sense of relief now. And everyone around me who knows me has said to me, you just seem different. Like there's this shift in you. And I totally see it. I feel it inside of me. There is this shift that has happened, and it's because I chose to take this path. And you know, you think I would have learned that from coming out and how powerful it is to like step in your truth, and I think I did. Like, I think about what it felt like to come out and how that was so scary, and you know, that wasn't a finish line experience for me. That was the first stepping stone in further self-reflection for me. And so yeah, like, I think back to coming out and I totally see where I am now because of that moment. Like, that was a huge moment in my life where I decided I'm gonna tell the truth about myself now, and it's starting with this. And to see like where that has taken me and what I'm talking about now, like things that, you know, I was just ashamed of, and now I'm fully like owning this part of my story, because I've realized that if I don't claim my story, other people are gonna fill in the blanks for me and make assumptions, and that's not my story. This is my story, and I'm standing in that. And I'm also putting on pink lipstick, because this is where this video ends, because we're at 16 minutes and 29 seconds, so I need to wrap this up. Good thing I made no promises about how this would turn out, because this is weird. This is a weird look. We got a lot of color here. You know, I'm just gonna finish this off with a little glitter, because I'm here and I'm queer and I am just so damn proud of myself. So we're gonna top it off with a little purple and pink glitter. That isn't really visible, but you know, there we go. Ooh, I actually like that on top of the blue. That looks kind of cool. Okay. So that is going to be it for my one take tutorial today. Was not expecting to cry through this, was not expecting this. This is in so many ways outside of my comfort zone. If you would like to see more of these one take tutorials, let me know in the comments, and let me know if you have any ideas for future themes. So I'm really looking for kind of life themes that I can build a makeup look around, and then talk about that theme and how it might be personal to my experience. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. October is my 10-year anniversary on YouTube. That feels like a big deal too. Just thank you for being here. So I'm gonna go. That's it for today. You know all the end stuff, like subscribe, like all of that. I will see you guys next week. Bye.